In the last episode of humanity's struggle for survival, the once blue skies had turned a perpetual gray, and the air was thick with the acrid smell of smoke and ash. The remnants of civilization clung to existence in sprawling metropolises built from the ruins of the old world. It was in this desolate landscape that Ambrose Wynter, a visionary entrepreneur, had risen to prominence. With his charisma and genius-level intellect, he had begun to forge a new path for humanity, one that would take them to the stars. As I stood on the rooftop of my high-rise office, gazing out at the devastated landscape, I couldn't help but feel a sense of nostalgia wash over me. The world I had grown up in was gone, consumed by the very industries that had driven my success. But it was in this moment of reflection that I knew I had a choice to make. I could let the destruction of the past define me, or I could use it as fuel to forge a new future. The wind whipped through my hair as I turned to face the sprawling metropolis before me. The Wynter Corporation's headquarters, a towering skyscraper, stood as a beacon of hope amidst the ruins. My team of engineers and scientists were working tirelessly to develop cutting-edge technology that would propel humanity forward. My thoughts were interrupted by the sound of footsteps approaching. It was my trusted lieutenant, Rachel. "Ambrose, we've received a transmission from the Xanthian delegation. They're willing to meet with us to discuss a potential alliance." I raised an eyebrow, intrigued. The Xanthians were a reclusive, insectoid species that had long been marginalized by human society. Their interest in an alliance was a promising development. "Tell them I'm on my way," I said, a plan already forming in my mind. As I descended into the heart of the corporation, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. This meeting had the potential to change the course of human history. The Xanthians were waiting for me in the conference room, their chitinous exoskeletons glinting in the fluorescent lighting. Their leader, a towering figure with piercing green eyes, extended a multi-jointed limb. "Greetings, Ambrose Wynter. We have come to discuss a mutually beneficial partnership." I smiled, extending my hand. "It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Ambassador. I believe we have a lot to discuss." The meeting that followed was a whirlwind of negotiations as we hashed out the details of our potential alliance. The Xanthians possessed advanced technology that would give us a foothold in the galaxy, and in return, we would provide them with access to the resources they so desperately needed. As the meeting drew to a close, I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. This was just the beginning of a new era for humanity, one that would take us to the stars and beyond. But as I walked back to my office, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. A rival corporation, the Onikuru, had long been a thorn in my side, and I wouldn't put it past them to try and sabotage our efforts. I entered my office, where Rachel was waiting with a concerned look on her face. "Ambrose, we've received reports of Onikuru agents operating in the sector. What do you want to do?" I leaned back in my chair, steepling my fingers. "Keep monitoring the situation, but for now, let's focus on building our alliance with the Xanthians. We can't let our rivals dictate our pace." Little did I know, this was only the beginning of a complex web of intrigue that would test my leadership and push humanity to the brink of collapse. The stars beckoned, but the journey ahead would be fraught with danger, and I was about to find myself at the center of a maelstrom that would change the course of history forever. As night fell on the ravaged earth, I gazed out at the stars, a sense of determination burning within me. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity would rise again, and I would be the one to lead them. The darkness seemed to vibrate with possibility, and I felt the weight of my responsibilities settling upon me. The game was afoot, and I was ready to play. But as I turned to leave, a message on my comms device caught my eye. It was from an unknown sender, and the words sent a shiver down my spine. "Ambrose Wynter, you're playing with fire. The flames will consume you." I felt a chill run down my spine. Who was behind this message, and what did they want? The mystery was already beginning to unfold, and I was about to find myself entangled in a web of deceit and danger that would change everything. I gazed at the message, my mind racing with possibilities. Who could be behind this ominous warning? The Onikuru were the obvious suspects, but something about this felt different. The tone was almost personal. "Rachel, I need you to trace the source of this message," I said, my voice low and even. "Already on it, Ambrose," she replied, her eyes fixed on the holographic display in front of her. I stood there, my thoughts swirling with possibilities as Rachel worked her magic. The silence was oppressive, heavy with the weight of unknown threats. Finally, Rachel looked up, her expression grave. "I've traced the message to a secure relay on the outskirts of the city." I nodded, my gut telling me that this was more than just a simple prank. "I need a team to investigate." Rachel nodded, already dispatching a team of security agents. As we waited for the team to report back, I couldn't shake the sense of unease. Who was behind this and what did they want? The waiting was agony, the silence punctuated only by the soft hum of the office equipment. Finally, their faces grave, the team leader, Marcus, reported back. "We've found something, Ambrose." "What is it?" I asked, my heart pounding in anticipation. "It's a hidden laboratory, Ambrose. They've been conducting secret experiments." My mind raced with possibilities. What kind of experiments? We're not entirely sure, but it looks like they're trying to create some kind of hybrid species. A chill ran down my spine. A hybrid species. What did that even mean? "I need to see this for myself," I said, my instincts screaming that this was connected to the mysterious message. "Rachel, assemble a team. We're going in." The darkness seemed to vibrate with possibility, and I felt the weight of my responsibilities settling upon me. This was more than just a game. This was a fight for humanity's very survival. I gazed out at the stars, a sense of determination burning within me. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. I would stop at nothing to protect humanity's future. I descended into the heart of the hidden laboratory, my senses on high alert as the dim lighting and sterile air thick with the scent of disinfectant. The team fanned out, securing the perimeter, their footsteps echoing off the cold walls. Rachel stayed close, her eyes fixed on the data slate in her hand, as we navigated the maze of workstations and cryogenic storage units. Every step revealed more unsettling evidence of the sinister experiments conducted here. Marcus motioned me toward a large circular chamber, the door sliding open with a hiss. Inside, rows of cryopods hummed, their contents frozen in suspended animation. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I approached the first pod. The occupant was unlike anything I'd ever seen. A being with skin like dark, polished obsidian, eyes like burning coals, and limbs that seemed to shift and writhe like living shadow. I recoiled, my mind struggled to comprehend the horror that lay before me. "What in the name of the cosmos?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. Rachel's face was ashen. "This is what they meant by hybrid species, Ambrose. They've been splicing human and Onikuru DNA." My gut twisted with revulsion. This was the ultimate betrayal of humanity's trust. Who could be behind such an atrocity? The team leader, Marcus, cleared his throat. "Sir, we've found a log from the lead scientist. It might shed some light on the identity of the perpetrators." I nodded, my anger simmering just below the surface. "Play it." The holographic display flickered to life, casting an eerie glow across the chamber. The scientist's face appeared, her eyes sunken, her tone detached. "Greetings, Ambrose Wynter. I'm afraid you're too late to stop the inevitable. The hybrid species will be the key to unlocking humanity's true potential, and I'm not alone in this endeavor. You'll soon learn that you have allies who share my vision." The message ended, leaving an unsettling silence in its wake. I felt a cold presence lurking just out of sight, watching, waiting. "Allies?" I spat, my fists clenched. "Traitors, more like. I want to know every single person involved in this monstrosity." "Rachel, dig deeper. I want names, faces, and I want them now." The silence that followed was oppressive, heavy with the weight of unknown enemies. But I knew one thing: I would not rest until ID brought every last one of them to justice. The fate of humanity depended on it. Rachel's fingers flew across the data slate, her brow furrowed in concentration as she combed through the laboratory's databases. The team stood vigilant, their eyes scanning the chamber as if expecting the hybrids to awaken at any moment. Marcus cleared his throat, his voice low. "Sir, we have multiple encrypted files flagged as Eclipse Protocol. It could be the key to identifying the conspirators." Eclipse Protocol, I repeated, my mind racing with the implications. That sounds like a code name. I need to know what it means. Rachel's eyes flicked up, a faint glimmer of determination. "I'm trying to crack the encryption, but it's going to take some time." I nodded, my gaze lingering on the hybrids. "We don't have time. We need to know who's behind this and what their end game is." As I spoke, the chamber's lights began to strobe, casting an eerie, pulsing glow across the hybrids. The air seemed to vibrate with an otherworldly energy. "What's going on?" I demanded, my instinct screaming warning. Marcus' hand dropped to his sidearm. "It's not us, sir. We're not causing this." The hybrids, once frozen in suspended animation, began to stir. Their eyes flickered, burning with an inner fire. The air seemed to ripple around them like the surface of a pond disturbed by an unseen stone. "No," I whispered, my heart pounding in my chest. "This can't be happening." Rachel's voice was shrill. "Ambrose, we need to get out of here now." The hybrids' cryopods hissed open, releasing them into the chamber. They moved with an unnatural fluidity, their limbs coalescing into razor-sharp claws. The team fell back, forming a defensive perimeter as the creatures closed in. I stood frozen, my mind reeling with the implications. This was no natural phenomenon. Someone or something was controlling the hybrids. "Fall back," I bellowed, snapping out of my trance. "We need to regroup and figure out what's going on." The team retreated, their footsteps echoing off the walls as we fled the chamber. I glanced back, my heart heavy with foreboding. We had unleashed a horror beyond our control, and I had a terrible feeling that this was only the beginning. We burst through the doors, slamming them shut behind us, the hybrids' inhuman screams echoing in our wake. Panic set in as we raced down the corridor, feet pounding the metal floor. The team's breathing was heavy, labored, as we desperately sought refuge from the nightmare we'd unleashed. "What just happened?" Marcus demanded, his eyes darting between Rachel and me. "How did they awaken?" Rachel's face was pale, her eyes haunted. "I don't know, but we need to get to the bridge now. We can't let this spread to the rest of the ship." I nodded, my mind racing with the implications. "The Eclipse Protocol. We need to find out what it is and who's behind this." We burst onto the bridge, the tension palpable as the crew struggled to comprehend the chaos unfolding around them. Alarms blared and warning lights flashed, casting an eerie glow across the console. Captain Patel's face was grim. "Sir, we're experiencing a ship-wide breach of security. Systems are failing and we're losing containment on multiple decks." "Get me a status report on the hybrids," I snapped, my voice firm. "Are they spreading?" The captain's fingers flew across the console, his brow furrowed. "Reports are coming in from Deck 3. The hybrids are breaking out of their containment units, sir. We're looking at a full-blown crisis." I felt a cold dread spreading through my veins. "What about the Eclipse Protocol?" The captain's eyes flicked up, his expression grave. "I've got a team working on it, sir. So far, we've got nothing concrete." Marcus stepped forward, his voice firm. "Sir, I think we should prepare for the worst-case scenario. If the hybrids spread to the rest of the ship." I nodded, my mind racing with the implications. "We need to quarantine the affected areas now. We can't let this spread any further." As I spoke, the ship's intercom crackled to life, a voice dripping with malice echoing through the bridge. "Ambrose Wynter, you've played into our hands beautifully. The hybrids are merely the first phase. The true power of the Eclipse Protocol will soon be unleashed upon the galaxy." My heart sank, a cold dread spreading through my chest. "Who is this?" I demanded, my voice firm. "The architect of your downfall, Wynter. You'll soon learn the true meaning of power." The line went dead, leaving us staring at each other in stunned silence. The hybrids were just the beginning. We were staring into the abyss, and I was the only one who could pull humanity back from the brink. The silence was oppressive. weighing heavy on our minds as the reality of the situation sank in. I felt the weight of responsibility, the burden of leadership settling onto my shoulders. I took a deep breath, my mind racing with strategies, tactics, and contingency plans. Captain, I need a full-spectrum analysis of the containment breach. I want to know how it happened and what we can do to stop it. The captain nodded, his fingers flying across the console. Aye, sir. I'll have the data for you shortly. Rachel stepped forward, her eyes haunted. Ambrose, we can't let this spread. We need to act now. I nodded, my mind racing. I agree. We need to prioritize containment and quarantine. We can't let the hybrids spread to the rest of the ship. Marcus' voice was firm. I'll assemble a team, sir. We'll do everything we can to contain this. I nodded, a plan forming in my mind. Rachel, can you hack into the ship's security systems? We need to lock down the affected areas and prevent further breaches. Rachel nodded, her face set in determination. I'm on it, Ambrose. The bridge was a flurry of activity as we sprang into action, working together to contain the crisis. I felt a surge of hope, a spark of determination igniting within me. We would get through this together. But as we worked, the shadows of doubt crept in. Who was behind this sinister plot? What was the true nature of the Eclipse Protocol? And what other secrets lay hidden, waiting to be uncovered? The captain's voice broke the tension, his words laced with urgency. Sir, I've got the data. The breach originated from an encrypted file hidden deep within the ship's mainframe. I leaned forward, my eyes locked on the console. What does it say? The captain's face was grim. It's a countdown, sir. We've got 59 minutes and counting. After that, all hell breaks loose. I felt the room fall silent, the weight of the countdown settling onto us all. We were running out of time and the fate of humanity hung in the balance. I stood tall, my eyes locked on the console. We've got work to do. Let's move, people. We've got a crisis to contain and a mystery to unravel. The bridge erupted into a flurry of activity, the sound of keyboards clacking and the hum of energy shields powering up. We were racing against time, fighting for survival and the future of humanity. As I watched my team spring into action, I knew one thing was certain. I would stop at nothing to unravel the mysteries of the Eclipse Protocol and ensure humanity's survival. The clock was ticking, and I was the only one who could stop it. The minutes ticked away, each one a countdown to Armageddon. My team worked with a frenzy of activity, their faces etched with determination. I watched, my mind racing with strategies as Rachel hacked into the ship's security systems and Marcus assembled a team to contain the hybrids. Captain, what's the status on the breach? I asked, my eyes locked on the view screen. It's spreading, sir. We've got multiple containment zones, but the hybrids are adapting fast. We need to find a way to stop them. And fast, I nodded, my mind racing. What about the encryption key? Have you found it? The captain shook his head. Not yet, sir. The encryption is too strong. We need a miracle to crack it. I turned to Rachel, her face set in determination. Rachel, can you? I'm trying, Ambrose, she interrupted. But it's like nothing I've ever seen. The code is self-adaptive, morphing every second. I need more time. Time was one thing we didn't have. I knew I had to think fast, or risk losing everything. Marcus, how's the containment team doing? I asked, his voice steady. We're holding our own, but it's a losing battle, sir. We need a solution, and fast, he replied, his voice laced with urgency. I felt the weight of the situation bearing down on me. I needed a solution, and I needed it now. Captain, hail the Galactic Council. We need their help, and we need it now. The captain nodded, his fingers flying across the console. Hailing the Galactic Council, sir. The view screen flickered and the counselor's face appeared, her expression grave. This is Counselor Zhang. What's the situation, Ambrose? She asked, her voice laced with concern. We've had a breach, Counselor, I replied, my voice steady. One of the hybrids has escaped and it's spreading fast. We need your help to contain it. The counselor's face fell, her eyes wide with shock. I'll send a team, Ambrose, but it'll take time. You need to hold on and keep the hybrids contained, she replied, her voice firm. I nodded, my mind racing. Time was running out and I needed a solution fast. "Captain, what's the status on the containment?" "It's not good, Ambrose," Marcus replied, his voice laced with urgency. "We're losing ground fast." I felt the weight of the situation bearing down on me. I needed a solution, and I needed it now. "Rachel, can you—" "I've got it, Ambrose," she interrupted, her eyes shining with triumph. "I've cracked the encryption key. I can shut down the hybrids." I felt a surge of hope as the room fell silent. We were one step closer to containing the crisis. "Rachel, do it," I ordered, my voice firm. The room held its breath as Rachel's fingers flew across the console. The hybrid screams echoed through the ship as the containment teams worked to hold them back. And then, suddenly, the screaming stopped. The ship's systems beeped back online and the containment teams cheered. I let out a sigh of relief as the room erupted into a flurry of activity. WED contained the breach and saved humanity from the brink of disaster. But as I turned to Rachel, I saw her face set in a determined expression. "Ambrose, we may have stopped the hybrids, but we still don't know what the Eclipse Protocol is or who's behind it." I nodded, my mind racing. The mystery was far from over, and I was the only one who could uncover the truth. The room fell silent. As the weight of Rachel's words sunk in, I knew I had to get to the bottom of the Eclipse Protocol and uncover the secrets behind the sinister plot. "Rachel, can you dig deeper into the encryption key?" I asked, my voice firm. "There must be more to it, something that'll lead us to the masterminds behind the Eclipse Protocol." Rachel nodded, her eyes already locked on the console. "I'll get to work, Ambrose, but I'll need access to the Council's databases." "Can you arrange that, Counselor Zhang?" The counselor's face appeared on the view screen, her expression grave. "I'll grant you access, Ambrose, but be warned, the Eclipse Protocol is a highly classified project. You're not the only one searching for answers." I nodded, my heart racing with anticipation. I knew the stakes were high, but I was ready to take the risks. "Captain, hail the Archon," I ordered. "It's time we paid our ally a visit and gathered some answers." The Archon's imposing figure filled the view screen, his face expressionless. "Ambrose Wynter, I've been expecting your call." I smiled, my mind racing with strategy. Expecting it, or waiting for it? The Archon's mask-like face cracked a hint of a smile. "Perhaps a little of both, Ambrose. You humans are prone to impulsive decisions. I prefer to be prepared." I chuckled, a sense of familiarity washing over me. The Archon's dry humor was a reminder that, despite our differences, we shared a common goal: survival. "I need your help, Archon," I said, my voice serious. "The Eclipse Protocol is more than just a simple containment breach. It's a sinister plot, and I need your resources to uncover the truth." The Archon's expression turned grave, his eyes narrowing. "I'll grant you access to our resources, Ambrose. But be warned, the Eclipse Protocol is a web of intrigue that goes far beyond your wildest imagination." "Tread carefully, human." I nodded, my heart pounding with anticipation. I was about to embark on a journey that would change the course of human history. "Captain, set a course for the Archon's realm," I ordered. "We have a mystery to unravel." The ship's engines roared to life as the stars blurred into a swirling vortex. I felt the familiar rush of adrenaline as the mysteries of the Eclipse Protocol beckoned. "Rachel, how's the data search going?" I asked. My eyes locked on the view screen. "I've found something, Ambrose," she replied, her voice laced with excitement. "A cryptic message hidden deep within the encryption key. It's an address, Ambrose, a coordinates that lead to the heart of the Eclipse Protocol." My heart skipped a beat as the room fell silent. I knew we were on the cusp of uncovering a conspiracy that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. "Set a course for the coordinates," I ordered, my voice firm. The stars blurred into a swirling vortex as we hurtled towards the unknown. I felt the weight of my destiny as the mysteries of the Eclipse Protocol beckoned. And I knew I was ready to face whatever lay ahead. For I was Ambrose Wynter, the master of my own fate. The ship shuddered as we pierced the veil of uncertainty. The view screen flickered, casting an eerie glow on the faces of my crew. I could sense their tension, their eyes fixed on the swirling vortex ahead. We were about to uncover secrets that had been hidden for centuries. "Captain, "We're entering the coordinates," the ship's AI announced, her metallic voice a stark contrast to the silence that had fallen over the crew. I nodded, my heart pounding in sync with the ship's engines. Rachel's eyes met mine, a flicker of excitement dancing in their depths. "Prepare the away team," I ordered, my words crisp and precise. "We'll need to move quickly and quietly." The Archon's face appeared on the view screen, his masked expression a reminder of the unknown dangers that lay ahead. "Ambrose, be warned," he said, his voice low and urgent. "You're about to enter the heart of the Eclipse Protocol. You'll need all your cunning and wit to survive." I nodded, my resolve hardening. I was Ambrose Wynter, the master of my own fate. Nothing could stop me from uncovering the truth. "Understood, Archon," I replied, my voice firm. The away team assembled around me, their faces set with determination. Rachel, Captain Jackson, and Lieutenant Ryder, we were a team forged in the fire of adversity, ready to face whatever lay ahead. "We'll move out in 3, I said, my eyes meeting theirs. "Stay alert, stay sharp. We don't know what we'll find in there." The ship's engines died, casting us into silence. The view screen flickered, revealing a desolate landscape shrouded in shadows. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I took my first step into the unknown. "This is it," Rachel whispered, her eyes locked on the console. "The heart of the Eclipse Protocol." I nodded, my heart pounding in anticipation. We were about to uncover the secrets that had haunted humanity for centuries. "Let's move out," I ordered, my words crisp and precise. We stepped out of the ship, our footsteps echoing in the stillness. The air was heavy with an eerie silence, as if the shadows themselves were watching us. "This way," I said, my eyes locked on the coordinates. We moved cautiously, our footsteps quiet on the barren ground. The shadows seemed to writhe around us, as if trying to conceal the secrets we sought. Suddenly, the silence was shattered. A low hum, pulsing with an otherworldly energy, began to build around us. "What's that?" Ryder asked, his voice laced with unease. "I don't know," Rachel replied, her eyes darting between the console and the surroundings. The hum grew louder, the air electric with tension. "We need to move now," I ordered, my voice firm. We sprinted forward, the hum building to a deafening roar. I felt the ground tremble beneath my feet, as if the very fabric of reality was about to tear apart. Suddenly, the world around us dissolved. We were sucked into a swirling vortex of light and energy, our screams lost in the void. And I knew we were about to face the truth. The vortex dissipated, and we stumbled out, disoriented. The air was thick with an electric silence, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. I staggered forward, my surroundings in. We were in a vast, dimly lit chamber, the walls lined with ancient machinery that seemed to hum with a soft blue glow. Rachel's hand grasped my arm, her eyes wide with wonder. "Ambrose, look." I followed her gaze, and my breath caught. In the center of the chamber, a massive crystal orb pulsed with an intense, fiery energy. The air seemed to ripple around it, as if reality itself was bending to its will. Captain Jackson's voice was barely audible. "What in the galaxy?" I didn't reply. I was transfixed on the orb, my mind reeling with the implications. This was at the heart of the Eclipse Protocol. Suddenly, the chamber was bathed in a warm, golden light. A figure emerged from the shadows, its features indistinct. It was humanoid, but its skin seemed to shift and flow like molten lava. "Welcome, Ambrose Wynter," it said, its voice like a gentle breeze on a summer day. "I am the guardian of the protocol. You have come to unlock its secrets." I took a step forward, my heart pounding in my chest. I will not be deterred." The guardian's form shifted, its eyes flashing with a piercing intensity. "You are bold, Ambrose Wynter, but do you have the courage to face the truth?" I didn't hesitate. "I do." The guardian's form dissolved, and we were surrounded by holographic projections. Images of ancient civilizations, of humanity's rise and fall, of the Eclipse Protocol's creation. The truth unfolded before us, a tapestry of deceit and manipulation. I felt a growl rise in my throat. "This is it," I muttered, my eyes locked on the holograms. "This is the key to it all." Rachel's grip on my arm tightened. "Ambrose, look at this." One of the holograms flickered, revealing a shocking image. A figure, identical to me, stood at the center of the protocol. It was my doppelganger, created by the ancient civilizations to control the Eclipse protocol. My mind reeled. I had been played, manipulated from the very beginning. The Eclipse protocol was not a tool for humanity's survival, it was a means of control, of enslavement. I felt a cold, calculating rage building inside me. I will not be controlled. I will not be manipulated. "We need to get out of here now," Captain Jackson said, his voice low and urgent. I nodded, my eyes locked on the orb. I knew what I had to do. I had to take control of the Eclipse protocol. I had to free humanity from its shackles. "Let's move out," I ordered, my voice firm. We turned to leave, but the chamber began to shake, the machinery humming with a deadly intent. The Guardian's voice echoed through the chamber. "You have seen the truth, Ambrose Wynter, but you will not leave this place alive." The chamber plunged into darkness, and I knew we were about to face the ultimate test. We sprinted through the darkness, our footsteps echoing off the ancient machinery. The air was thick with tension, the silence between us palpable. I could feel Rachel's hand still grasping my arm, her grip tight with fear. Suddenly, the chamber was bathed in a blinding light. The machinery roared to life, and the walls began to close in on us. I shielded my eyes, my heart racing with fear. This was it, we were trapped. "Ambrose, we need to find an exit," Captain Jackson yelled, his voice barely audible over the din. I spun around, my eyes scanning the chamber. The Guardian was nowhere to be seen, but I knew it was watching, waiting for us to make a move. I spotted a faint glow emanating from the walls. It was a narrow opening, barely large enough for us to squeeze through. I grabbed Rachel's hand, and we made a dash for the exit. The chamber's machinery was closing in fast. I could feel the air out of my lungs, the pressure building. We were running out of time. We squeezed through the opening, our bodies scraping against the metal walls. I could feel Rachel's hand slipping from mine, but I held tight, pulling her through. We emerged on the other side, gasping for air. The chamber was a maelstrom of chaos, the machinery spinning wildly out of control. I knew we had to keep moving. The Guardian's voice echoed through the chamber, its tone dripping with malevolence. "You will not escape the Eclipse protocol. You will not defy its will." I didn't respond. I knew we had to keep moving to find a way to take control of the protocol. I spotted a series of catwalks and ladders leading up to the chamber's upper levels. We climbed, our movements swift and silent. The machinery raged on below us, the chamber shaking with each step. I could feel Rachel's eyes on me, her gaze burning with fear and determination. We reached the top level, the catwalks narrow and treacherous. The chamber's upper levels were a labyrinth of control rooms and access panels. I spotted a central console, its screens flashing with data. This was the key to controlling the protocol. I sprinted towards the console, my heart pounding in my chest. The Guardian's voice echoed through the chamber once more. "You can control the Eclipse protocol, Ambrose Wynter. You are but a mere mortal." I didn't hesitate. I accessed the console, my fingers flying across the controls. The screens flashed before me, the data streaming in. I knew what I had to do. I had to override the protocol's programming, to bend it to my will. I worked fast, my mind racing with the implications. The chamber began to shake, the machinery groaning in protest. I knew we were running out of time. I worked faster, my fingers flying across the console. Suddenly, the screens went dark. The chamber was silent, the machinery still. I had done it. I had also triggered a countdown. We had 60 seconds to escape the chamber before the Eclipse protocol self-destructed. We sprinted back down the catwalks, our footsteps clattering against the narrow walkways. Rachel's hand was still clutched in mine. I could feel her fear, her determination. "Captain, we need to get out of here now." I yelled, the words echoing off the walls. "Aye, sir," Captain Jackson replied, his voice firm. We reached the bottom level, the chamber's machinery still silent. I could feel the countdown ticking away in my mind. "Which way?" Rachel asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I scanned the area, my eyes locking onto a flashing exit sign. "This way." We sprinted towards the exit, the door sliding open with a hiss. We burst through into the corridor beyond, the air cool and fresh after the recycled air of the Eclipse Protocol. The corridor stretched out before us, long and winding. I could feel the countdown echoing in my mind. 40 seconds. We ran, our footsteps pounding against the metal floor. The corridor twisted and turned until we reached the docking bay. The vaulter's engines were roaring, the ship systems powering up. Captain Jackson was already at the helm, his hands moving swiftly across the controls. "Ambrose, we need to get out of here now," he yelled. I nodded, my heart racing. "Go, Captain." The vaulter shuddered to life. We leapt into the air as the countdown reached its final seconds. I felt the Eclipse Protocol's energy building behind us. The ship burst out of the docking bay, the Protocol's energy waves slamming into us as we broke atmosphere. We were thrown from our chairs, the inertial dampeners struggling to keep up. Rachel's hand was still clutched in mine. I could feel her fear, her relief. We broke into clear space, the stars shining bright around us. I let out a breath, the tension easing from my body. "We did it," I said, the words barely audible. Rachel's eyes locked onto mine, her gaze burning. "What now?" I smiled, my heart still racing. "We rebuild. We prepare for whatever comes next." The vaulter's sensors began to pick up strange energy readings from the edge of the system. I felt a shiver run down my spine. "What's that?" Captain Jackson asked, his voice firm. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. I knew what was coming. New challenges, new threats, but I was ready. Humanity was ready. I looked out at the stars, my heart pounding with excitement. The universe was full of mysteries, but one thing was certain: Ambrose Wynter would lead humanity to the forefront of the galaxy.